All right, guys, I'm going to go over a quick PowerPoint of what you need to know. I'm going to go over everything you need to know for this week's lesson. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, this week what you're doing is number 1, you're logging into Classcraft. Number 2, you're watching this video that has to do with ethos, pathos, and logos. Number 3, you're finding an advertisement or commercial and filling out the advertisement worksheet located in Google Classroom. There's a picture of it to the right-hand side, so you could see that's what you're filling out. Number 4, you're playing an ethos, pathos, and logos game, which is on Nearpod. And number 5, you're submitting everything. So number 5 isn't really something you need to do. So it's not a lot. It sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot. I'm going to break it down for you. Okay, the first thing, you're already watching the video, so you don't have to worry about the number 2 so much. All right, so you're going to go into Nearpod. I'm going to go in with you. Okay, so preview. I'm going to talk about ethos, pathos, and logos. I honestly don't know what your teacher went over with you, so I want to make sure you understand what it is. You're going to go over this PowerPoint. We're going to go over it together really quick. So ethos, pathos, and logos are different types of advertisements, or they're different types of way to persuade people. Ethos has to do with an ethical or moral argument. Ethos has to do with credibility. We'll talk about it in a second. Pathos is all emotional, and logos has to do with logic. Okay, so let's dive a little deeper. So ethos or ethos, depending on who's pronouncing it, it has to do with a person's credibility. So if I'm trying to sell you something, and I have a picture of a pilot, somebody that you trust, okay? That's ethos. It can mean sincerity, authority, expertise, faithfulness, anything like that. So on our next slide, I have a picture of a doctor. For example, when you trust a doctor and the doctor says, I want you, Crest is the best toothpaste to have. And you have a picture of a dentist and it says dentist recommended. That is ethos, because you trust the dentist. You trust the doctor. If a doctor tells you not to go outside because it's dangerous because of COVID-19, you trust the doctor. If I was to tell you, or if a teacher was to tell you, you'd be like, well, what do you know anything about health, right? You know nothing about health. Okay, so that's ethos. Ethos has to do with, what do you call them? Famous people. So for example, if I see Rihanna and she's putting on eyelashes, I'm more likely to trust the advertisement and I'll probably buy the mascara that Rihanna has. Or if an NFL player is advertising Samsung or Vizio or any type of TV, I trust that football NFL player, I'm more likely to buy that TV. Does that make sense? So ethos has to do with people we trust, doctors, famous people, Mr. Oz, I think that's his name. Okay, like different famous people, doctors, pilots, things like people in uniform. Does that make sense? So that is ethos. So I'm going to show you a quick example. Okay, we're not going to play the whole thing, but there's Drake, and he's drinking Sprite, advertising Sprite. And because we trust Drake, because he's famous, we trust Sprite, and we're more likely to buy Sprite. So that's ethos. Famous people, anyone that you trust. And don't say that you don't trust Drake, but I'm talking about all famous people. All right, so moving on. Now let's talk about pathos. Pathos has to do, they're advertisements that get at your heart. They either make you super happy, they make you super sad, they make you scared, like life alerts for people that fall down the stairs. Then you have all these, like my grandma was like, should I buy Life Alert after watching that commercial? Because she was scared that she was going to fall down the stairs. It gave her fear. Patriotism, when you feel guilty, when you feel hate. A lot of times you have different politician commercials and you're like, oh, I hate Hillary, or I hate Trump, or I hate this, whoever it is, because you're This is pathos. It has to do with your emotion. Okay. So, for example, if you see all these kids and they don't have any water and they're in Haiti and they're like, please donate to help these kids, you feel bad. You feel really bad. That has to do with pathos. Anything having to do when you see rescue this, or even when somebody makes you feel happy, you watch a commercial and you think that was really funny, that's pathos because you feel happy at the end. A lot of people use pathos, and a famous pathos commercial, and I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's super sad, and I'm sure you've seen this commercial. Of course, the internet doesn't work when I want to show you a commercial. So Sarah McLachlan plays this really sad song, and she shows all these pictures of really sad animals, and she tells you to donate money at the end of the commercial, and it's super sad. And you're more likely to donate than if somebody said, hey, can you donate money for these pets? But then if you see their sad faces and you hear the sad song, that's pathos. That has to do with your emotion. Okay, anything having to do with your emotion. Or you see a funny commercial and every time you see it, you laugh. A lot of NFL commercials have that. That's pathos because it makes you happy at the end of the commercial. Now, a lot of times when you see a commercial, sometimes there'll be two different things. It'll be ethos and pathos. It just doesn't have to be one. Sometimes they use two or three. Okay, so now let's talk about logos. Logos comes from the Greek word logic. Anything having to do with numbers, polls, statistics. If they say 25% of people or 80% of people choose Verizon, so should you, then you're like, you know what? That's smart. If 80 people are doing it, obviously it makes sense for me to do it too because 80 people are doing it. So logos appeals to what is based on making a person's life better or easier. So the quicker picker-upper, if I say, you know what, Bounty is better and faster and quicker and more convenient, then when I go to the store and I'm looking at Bounty, I'm like, do I want Bounty or this other, paper towels that nobody brought up? I'll probably get Bounty because they said that it was better and faster and whatever, quicker. So that is logic. It makes sense to buy Bounty. So here's a commercial. Has to do with Pampers.
Pampers have 3 absorbent layers to stay up to 3 times drier, so babies can sleep soundly.
So then the logical thing is, if Pampers hold more liquid, then it's smarter to buy Pampers. So Pampers deals with polls, statistics. Anytime you see 25% of people do this, or they have a poll, 50% of people do that, that's logos. Okay, so there's 3. Ethos has to do with famous people, credibility, who you trust, doctors, nurses, teachers. Pathos has to do with your heart, your emotions, love, fear, hate, sadness. Logos has to do with what's logical. Once you're done with this, you're going to play a little ethos, pathos, logos game. And I'll get the results to that. So that's the first thing you have to do. Okay, that's the first thing. Then the second thing is you're going to pick any commercial you want. And I'm sure you guys have seen enough TV during this quarantine that you have plenty of commercials in mind. So you're going to pick a commercial. You can either paste the YouTube link to the commercial, or you can find just a picture, an advertisement that you Google an advertisement. Okay, so you're going to paste the picture or the link here. Then you're going to tell me who's involved. Who are the people involved? Is it Drake? Is it Ariana Grande? Is it a bunch of animals? There were no people. There were just aliens, whatever it was. Where in the world was it located? If it doesn't say it doesn't say. Or it was outside. It was inside. It was in the future. Wherever in the world. This is where, but if it talks about the future, you can put the future in. And then what is going on? 4 complete sentences of what is going on in this commercial. And then at the end, you're just going to tell me, is it ethos, pathos, or logos? And how do you know? Well, it was pathos because it was really sad, and at the end, it felt really, really bad. Oh, okay. It was logos because it mentioned statistics. Okay. It was ethos because it had this famous person. Okay. It was ethos and pathos because of I just want to see you thinking about ethos, pathos, and logos. So that's the second thing you have to do. And then the last thing you have to do, and this is just for the Fun Friday, is this game that I'm going to post up on ethos, pathos, and logos. And that's it. That's all you're doing. So this week, you're looking at my Nearpod, playing the game. You're putting this you're pasting the advertisement or the link and answering, oh my gosh, 4 questions. It takes you what, 4 minutes? 9 minutes, 10 minutes? Okay, and then you're just gonna have your Fun Friday. You play a game, 20 questions, and all of this is gonna go towards your class craft. And that's it. That's all I have for you this week. All right, you guys, I'm looking forward to see your advertisements. Just so I could see how much Miss Pelton taught you about it, and so we could get the ball rolling. I need to see where you're at. All right, guys, till next time.